So, thank you so much, Dr. Anand. And it's my privilege that I get to speak alongside many of my teachers from whom I have learned everything. And many of them are here in this session, and I am very grateful to them for all I know today. So, I'll be talking to you about surgery in stage 4 and 5 ROP. So, we are aware that a lot of challenges are there, a lot of preoperative challenges. You need a strong anesthetic team. You need a good NICU backup. And obviously, there's a lot of risk of complications when you're dealing with small eyes. So I'd like to show this because this case came to us. He was a case of stage 4A developing both the eyes. He had already undergone laser in both the eyes. Unfortunately, the child could not be cleared for surgery. So this is how he came to us at 2 weeks when he was fit for surgery. So you see, a lot of things have changed. The message which I want to give in this case of stage 4 is that you see the ridge is now much worse than what it was. It's bleeding more. The maculas got involved. The height is more. So we need to understand that as the case gets delayed, more height happens, more peripheral, becomes more vascular. The instrument access becomes difficult, as well as the outcomes become poor. If the lens gets involved, there's a high chance you might not be able to save the lens. If the macula gets involved, even after best of surgery, the macula might pucker and the visual outcomes might not be good. So how are the outcomes in stage 4? So you see the case on the left, it has a very high TRD developing here. And if you see on the right after surgery, it's just gone away in 4 weeks, as good as new. So the outcomes after stage 4A surgery are very good. Same case I showed you earlier, this case was operated, but although it appears that the ridge and everything disappeared, but see the macula is puckered, dragged. So the outcomes are really not good. So we need to operate early and we should not delay in referral. Just to show you a case of a 25G vitrectomy, which is being done, lens sparing. So you see now the band here is being relieved, which is pulling from the disc to the temporal TRD. Now the vertical traction is being relieved over the ridge. You can see the laser marks are already there. These have been given fresh just before surgery under GA. So you can see the ridge is bleeding right now. So you can just go ahead and dithermize all these bleeding points. The idea is to relieve the entire traction vertically so that the pull stops. You can see the central circumferential traction across the ridge is also being cut and it's no longer there. So the idea here is this is what it looked like. And this was the vertical traction which was there, which we need to relieve. We also need to relieve this tangential or radial traction, which is pulling it, as well as the circumferential traction. So unless you relieve all these three types of traction, something or the other is going to keep on pulling and it will not be a good outcome. There's another case which has a little more of posterior TRD. It's a case of zone 1 here, as you can see. Again, fresh laser marks you see have been prior to surgery. You can see how yellow the vitreous is right now. And once you do the vitrectomy here, relieve all the traction, then you see right now that all the yellow vitreous is now gone. You can see even the macula is not vascularized here. And we're trying to do some PVD here. And so this is how it looks like at 4 weeks. And as you can see that a lot of this traction has gone away. So it's not to say that, the outcomes of these cases can be universally good. This particular case, if you see, it could have a very bad outcome as well. So we were lucky we got away with this, but this is a late stage to refer a case of ROP. We need to get these cases a little early. Okay, so let's see this another scenario. This case came to us. This is what it looked like. We continue to follow up this case. He was being regularly referred by a private practitioner. And, one day, even after best of laser and laser augmentation, as you see here, they started to lift in one particular area. So after 4 weeks, this thing happened and we advised surgery in this case. However, the parents were not willing for surgery. So unfortunately, this is what it came at the end of the next 2 weeks. So you can appreciate that it progresses very fast and an outcome which could have been better in the middle photo is now much poorer in the right photo. So we need to go in whenever a patch is lifting up despite surgery. And obviously Anand has given very good insights into a good laser. And again, this article about technical aspects by Dr. Jalali and some of the teachers here is very good if you need to start getting practical tips on laser treatment. So we should not be waiting for the ridge to become like this and keep on praying that the ridge will somehow go away. So if it come like this, then it becomes very difficult to treat this kind of cases with the lens sparing vitrectomy. So this is just to put in a word for all nasal approach, which Professor Dogra likes to talk about. And this is a screenshot from his paper. And this is basically a very good approach if you've got a temporal 4B and you can go through the nasal approach, as you see here, he's going, and then you can relieve the traction from one side and it works very well. So this is some of the cases which we get where you have zone 1 stage 4 and is developing. But here what you see is that the neovascularization is very severe. So in these cases, even despite laser, if you see it's picking up, if you do surgery, there's a high chance you'll have intraoperative bleeds, post-operative bleeds, and then it might just pucker up and close. So we do like to combine injection anti-VEGF with these drugs intraoperatively. And then, this kind of outcome can be obtained. So we find that anti-VEGF combining selected cases only, where if there's extensive neovascularization and you can get in early, it works very well to help in these cases. And obviously, as Sir said, that in bilateral progressive cases, we do like to go in a single sitting. And we again learned it from many of our teachers, how this is to be done. And so it works very well. We don't waste time to let the better eye progress to become worse if we do it one after the other. Obviously, you have to treat it like two separate eyes. And if you do it that way, then, you can have a good asepsis and it can work very well. Obviously, parent counseling is very important in these cases. Complications are a big problem of this story, especially for newcomers who start, because they have to, and especially if you're coming from an adult eye, then you need to be aware that there can be complications because they're smaller eyes. Instruments are not meant for very small eyes. So in this case, you see the instrument went in, caused a break. So you just need to go ahead and, laser that area, and there's no problem which happens after that. Don't do a PVD. Don't try to, mess too much with that area. Again, this is a common problem. Because the eyes are very small, the cannula can bend and can cause lens touch. So again, if the capsule is intact and just a pressure touch there, then you can get away with it. Sometimes the cannula does misdirect and lead to suprachoroidal misdirection of fluid. Again, you can let the fluid come out, and then you can again, the outcomes can be good in these cases. And obviously, post-op hemorrhage is a big problem. So don't leave bleeders on table, and this can again be helpful in those cases. So stage 5 ROP is again a big problem. Many of us deal with these situations, and right now we get around 5 to 7 babies of stage 5 ROP coming to RP center. It's a very sad situation that so many babies are going blind. And we all started learning from Dr. Gopal, his earlier paper which came out, which shows the learning curve. So we got inspired by it. Many of us started operating from tips and tricks from that. And again, this is an idea of how the thing lifts up. So what this article by Dr. Sen is trying to show here is how this traction tends to lift up, how you have ridge to ora traction, how you have ridge to ridge traction. Again, this is useful for people who operate stage 5 ROP to understand the pathoanatomy with which you're getting into, so that you know how you have to relieve the traction in these cases, which is a little different from the stage 4 ROP cases, which you deal with. And obviously, ultrasound is useful, but again, it's of limited use. If you go in and you can able to separate the retina, some possible useful things. So just to show you the technique, this is how I like to do it. So here you can see 23G MVR is going in. So through these 23G instruments, through the 23G MVR, we put in 25G instruments, and it allows for good sutureless closure later, and allows easy access to the instrument. So you see lensectomy is being done here. All the posterior synechiae, etc., is being relieved. This is the retrolental membrane. So an opening is being made in the retrolental membrane using the MVR. So you have to be careful here. You don't go ahead and cause a break in the retina, which is just stuck behind this. So once you continue to open the retina and you continue to dissect it, the retina does tend to fall back. So this is a case of open funnel configuration. So this is one of the better funnel configurations. Many of them are closed and things like that, and then they would not open so well as this can. This is to show you how these retinas can open up and why surgery should be tried in these cases, because there is hope. So you can see now that all the traction is being relieved, and once you keep on dissecting this, you can see the disc is there, you can see the posterior pole is there. And obviously this 360 traction you can't relieve because it's all very dense and tight. And here you can see the sidration of the wounds can be done, and then it becomes sutureless, night clean closure can be done. There's another case of stage 5 ROP. Again, you see the same approach. 23G instruments are going in, and through the 23G MVR, 25G instruments go in. Again, lensectomy is being done, the posterior synechiae are relieved. So it's again a case of open funnel configuration. And you see there's just fibrous tissue in between. The retina is 360-degree dashed, but the central funnel has just fibrous tissue. Not much dissection is needed here, as you can see.
Recording in progress.
I'm just removing the central tissue, and there you can see the disc is there, and this last bit of tissue is going away. And as you can see, there is the disc, there is the macula. Although the macula is not so healthy. So to say that surgery should be tried in these cases, I'm not trying to say that the outcomes will be good in most of them. The outcomes will typically be very poor in most of them. But if you try surgery, there's a chance the child might get navigable vision. And even if he gets shadows, if he's able to move from one room to the other without banging into the door or the chair, then his life changes. He's able to recognize shadows. He's able to recognize his parents are standing there. So his life changes. And you really don't know which case might actually open up very well at the end of surgery. But typically, we should be avoiding stage 5 ROP because if you can laser early, do anti-VEGF early, and these babies don't reach stage 5 ROP, then it would be much better. So thank you so much for this opportunity.